quadratic function and graph. What is quadratic function? Quadratic function is a function of polynomial that has the highest degree of 2. What is degree? So if you have a function, for example, ax to the power of n plus bx to the power of n minus 1 plus cx to the power of n minus 2 and so on, the highest power of x is called as degree. So quadratic function is a polynomial function that has the highest degree of 2. If we see that the highest power of the x is 2. So this is quadratic function. We can express it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants, and a is not equals to 0. From the quadratic function, we can plot the function into a graph. Now, the quadratic graph has the shape called a parabola. The shape is in U shape, and it has two orientations. It can be an U shape with facing up, and N shape or U shape with facing downwards. We can know the shape of the function, of the quadratic function, from the coefficient of a. So when we have a greater than 0, we will have the quadratic graph facing upwards. And when we have a smaller than 0 or negative, we will have the N shape or U-shaped parabola facing downwards. For the parabola graph, you can see that we have minimum or maximum point. The minimum or the maximum point of the quadratic graph is called as a vertex. So let's see about the quadratic graph. The example number 1, draw fx equals to x squared. So if we put some numbers into the equation, so we will have the values as shown in the table. If we put -1, it will be 1. So I can draw it here. -1, 1, and then 0, 0, and then 1, 1, and also 2, 4. So we just replace all the values of x to the expression to produce the values of y. And then after that, we just plot the graph, and you will see that in here, a is equals to 1. So a is greater than 0. So based on the theory, it will be facing upwards and has a minimum point. So it will be facing upwards and has the minimum point in here is equal in the 0, 0. Number 2, draw the function of 2x squared minus x minus 3. So we do the same thing. We replace the values of x. If I have -1, so I will have 0. So this is -1, 0. If I put 0 to the equation, so 0 minus 0 minus 3. So it equals to -3. So 0, -3 will be here. And then 1.5.0 in here, 1.5.0, and also 2, 3 here. So since the A here is 2, so A is greater than 0, so it will be a U shape facing up with the minimum vertex. Next, number 3, draw negative x squared minus x minus 2. So we plot again, put all the values of x to the expression, and you will have the y values, negative 1, negative 2, negative 1, negative 2, and then 0, negative 2, and then 1 and negative 4, and also negative 2 and negative 4. Yeah. So in this case, since A is equals to negative 1, so A is smaller than 0. So it will be facing down. So downwards with the maximum vertex. Now, how do we find the vertex? The coordinate of the vertex. Quadratic graph of fx equals to ax squared plus bx plus c has either maximum vertex of or minimum vertex as we seen before. Now, the x coordinate of the vertex is given by this formula. The x v is equals to minus b over 2a. The a and b are taken from the equation. So you have to find the values of a and b. A is the coefficient of x squared and b is the coefficient of x. And then to find the y coordinate, we just replace the x coordinate that we get from the formula to the function fx. For example, find the coordinate of the vertex from the equation of fx, x squared plus 5x minus 6. So in here we have a equals to 1 and b equals to 5. So the x coordinate of the vertex is minus b over 2a. So it's minus 5 over 2 times 1. So equals to negative 5 over 2. So that means the vertex coordinate will be negative 5 over 2. And for the y, we will just replace the x value to the function. So it's negative 5 over 2 squared plus 5 times 5 over 2 minus 6. So this is 25 over 4 plus 25 over 2, negative 6. So 25 over 4 plus 50 over 4 minus 24 over 4. So equals to 51 over 4. So that means the coordinate of the vertex is negative 5 over 2 and 51 over 4. Number 2. Find the coordinates of the vertex of fx for x squared minus 8x plus 1. So using the formula, minus b over 2a, a here equals to 4 and b equals to negative 8. So it's negative minus 8 over 2 times 4. So equals to 1. And the y value is replace into the equation 4 times 1 squared minus 8 times 1 plus 1. equals to 4 minus 8 plus 1 equals to negative 3. Next, line of symmetry. If you notice from the graph of quadratic function, you will see that the x-coordinate of the vertex is at the midpoint of all coordinates of y values on the same y values. So for example, you can see this x squared plus 4x minus 5. So you can see that coordinate C is negative 5, 0. Coordinate A is 1, 0. And from the graph, we know that B is the vertex and the coordinate of B is negative 2 and 9, negative 9. Yeah, negative 9. Now, if you see that the coordinate of x equals to negative 2, I will draw the line. X equals to negative 2 is always at the midpoint of the two coordinates along the graph at the same y values. See, D is negative 4 and 5, yeah, negative 5. E is 0 and negative 5. So on the same y values, the line of symmetry is at the midpoint. That's why the line of symmetry is the line through the vertex. Yeah, the line passes through the vertex to become the symmetry of the graph. So that means passes through the midpoint. So the line of symmetry is the line passes through the vertex and divides the graph into two parts equally. So this line is dividing the graph, this part and this part equal. That's why we call it as line of symmetry. The equation of the line symmetry is the x value of the vertex. So that means the equation is x equals to negative 2. Here, yeah. How do you know that? We can use the formula xv equals to negative b over 2a. A is equals to 1 and b equals to 4. So xv is equals to negative 4 over 2 times 1. So equals to negative 2. So the equation of the line of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. Next, move on to finding the vertex by using the completed the square form. So we have learned about the completing the square form method. Now, this is the use of the completing square form method, is to find the vertex of the quadratic function. Let's see the example. Find the line of symmetry of the x squared plus 4x minus 5. This is exactly the same question as before. This one. So from here, we can see that the line equation is equals to negative 2. The vertex is here, the vertex -2, -9. Yeah, the vertex. So that means in here, we try to find that vertex using the completing the square form. So we have to make this into completing the square form. Don't forget, prepare the rule, the bracket square and the minus, and then -5. And then now we fill in the bracket. So this is x. So we can put x here. This is for x. So 4 is divided by 2 and divided by 1. Here is 1. So it goes to +2. And then minus with this number square. So 2 square. So we can simplify into x plus 2 square minus 4 minus 5. So it's x plus 2 square minus 9. And this is equals to fx. So now we already changed the form from the quadratic general form into the completing the square form. Now, how do we know the vertex of the quadratic graph using this completing the square form? Okay, now let's see this term. X plus 2 square is a square number. Yeah, the square number are 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. Yeah, that's square number. Now, square number always produce positive values. For example, -1 square is 1. -5 square is 25. 5 square equals to 25. So square number is always positive. Now, since we know in the quadratic equation a is equals to 1, so that means a is greater than 0. So the shape of this quadratic graph will be a U shape with a minimum value, with the minimum vertex. Now, that means, how do you find the minimum function from this using the completing the square? Now, the minimum value of the square number is equals to 0. Yeah, since all the square numbers will produce a positive number, so the least value that the square number can has is 0, only 0. That's the lowest, the least value. And that will be happen when x plus 2 equals to 0, when x equals to -2. So that means the lowest or the minimum vertex x coordinate is -2. This is the vertex. Yeah. And what is the minimum value? The y coordinate. So when this value is equals to 0, the minimum value that fx can take is equals to -9. So this is the -9, the lowest point, the minimum. So this is the coordinate of the vertex. So from the equation, fx equals to x plus 2 square minus 9. The vertex is this, -2 and -9. Yeah, it's always opposite to the value in here because we have to make this term as the 0. Yeah, to have the minimum or the maximum vertex. That's it. I have exercise and you can do it for your own practice. That's all for the quadratic function and graph. Thank you.